Hey everybody, welcome back to this episode of Think Business Live. Looking forward to talking to Tim Keane. Sorry about that, Tim. He's the co-founder of a company called Loop Club, and they are all about delivering 512% growth for purpose-driven Shopify stores. Basically, we're going to be talking about growth marketing today, which I always think is a great topic, Tim. But I want to kind of rewind for a little bit because, you started your business in August of 2020. And here you are talking about, having a company talking about growth marketing. And to me, really, there probably was never a more important time to market than double your marketing than in March of last year, right? When COVID hit, a lot of companies, were getting rid of their marketing budgets when really I was a big believer and advising clients, double your marketing, triple your marketing. Now is the time to get into the consumer's mind and in the consumer and owning some real estate into that consumer. So talk a little bit about, August 2020, why you started it, how it started, and where you saw the opportunity.
Absolutely. So we formed the business formally in August 2020, but we've been in this space for a long time. I was freelancing in March last year. I was just working with a couple of clients. We all came out of the agency space. We all worked at an agency called MuteSix, which was a very, very, we learned to do growth marketing at a very high level. But you're absolutely right. So what happened was that we thought we were just going to go freelance, take a couple of clients, have a fun time, relax on the beach, And then COVID hit. Our clients are smart enough, considered enough to double down their marketing. They realized that CPMs dropped massively. We work exclusively with direct-to-consumer brands. So most of our brands actually either were flat or got a boost. They got a massive boost from COVID, a spike, I would say. So we were just in the right place at the right time. We've been working on Shopify for a long time, for many years now. Obviously, e-commerce grew. In the last 6 months, I think e-commerce grew as much as it grew in the last 10 years. So it's felt like...
Say that again.
In the last 6 months, e-commerce has grown as much as in... It's pretty crazy to think about.
Yeah, that is crazy.
So we've just been sitting in our computers.
Is that a stat or your opinion?
Yeah. No, it's true. It came from Shopify. Yeah. There was this crazy graph that came out. Let me see if I can find it. While we talk, I'll look for this graph. It's incredible. It was like a linear line every year, e-commerce growing by whatever X amount. And then 2020, it just goes massive spike. And my feeling about it was like, it felt like being hit by a bus. Like I haven't stood up from my computer in the last 12 months, really.
Yeah. I believe that. I asked because I wasn't sure, but I feel the same way. I think COVID actually fast forwarded us 5-6 years, and 100%. Every company now has to be thinking about marketing and e-commerce differently, even professional service firms that don't typically think like that.
Absolutely. Yeah. And it's been really gratifying for people who've been in the e-commerce space for a while, and all of a sudden, our insights are extremely valuable. Yeah, here we go. So 2019, US e-commerce was 16% of retail sales. April 2020, it became 27%.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. All right, so keep on going. So talk about growth marketing and how companies need to be thinking.
Totally. So I think so what growth marketing really is running a process around identifying opportunities in your business. And then, like you were saying, aggressively pursuing opportunities that are cost effective and lead to an ROI. So what we do is build processes around identifying opportunities, exploiting those opportunities, and growing the business rapidly. So that's at a high level what we do. Our tactics are pretty standard. Facebook ads, Google ads, Klaviyo email marketing, SMS marketing, all just the kind of stuff that people have been doing for a long time. But really what it's all about is building a data-driven kind of feedback loop between your marketing team and your creative team and your product team and your design team, and getting everyone thinking in a growth-minded way. We find that the biggest lever, the thing that moves the needle the most, is creative for people. So a lot of brands sleep on this. We see a lot of brands that are spending $10,000 a day on Facebook because they see the number there, they see a good ROI, but they're sending people, they're using bad quality creative or low quality creative. So they could be, if they were to take that $10,000 invested in some good creative, they could be seeing significantly higher ROI. So our job is to help businesses allocate resources effectively to maximize revenue growth, really.
Yeah. And how do you do that? You know, I mean, I think a lot of times, you know, people don't understand the creative process of that, right? Or why one word, you know, changing one word or one color can make a big difference, or, you know, or the power of simplicity. So I just kind of talk about the mindset of somebody, because I think I'm a big believer the same level of consciousness that got us to where we are can't get us where we want to be. So we need to utilize resources like yourself, like other mentors, coaches, et cetera, to kind of raise our awareness and consciousness of what's going on. So talk about the mindset shift that people need to really kind of wake up to.
Oh, that's a wonderful, wonderful question. Absolutely. Exactly. It's the blocker in most cases is not your ability to make this stuff. It's the mindset of building that team. So I would say that there's two primary blockers. The first is an addiction to the data that's in front of you. So Facebook and Google present a lot of data to you, right? They give you information, numbers about what your ad performance is. But you have to think of those numbers as the culmination, the end product of all of the activity, all of the marketing activity. Yeah. So that number represents not just like how good you are at media buying, how good you are at building a product, how good you are at building a team, how good you are at going to market. Do people like the product? What's your customer service like? What's the integration between all your apps and your Shopify store? That's the first thing. It's like the number is the end. The number is a lagging indicator of how well you're doing. So if you sit in the account all day and you desperately tweak and you try to fix the number in the computer, nothing's going to work. And you just keep doing it. And we see so many accounts where people are just pushing into it.
Well, I see that too. I just want to comment on that, Tim, because I see a lot of times people too, they get stuck in lagging indicators and they think that the lagging indicators are actually leading indicators. Mm-hmm. And they get stuck in those numbers. And so I think it's worth talking, finish kind of what you're saying, but then maybe wrap back into the power of leading versus lagging indicators that you need to pay attention to.
Absolutely. And the scary thing, why it's scary for people, is revenue is a lagging indicator. Revenue comes when you've done everything else right. And that's correct. Because there's a gap where you're like, is this working? Because you don't have the revenue yet. And if you're not willing to step into that fear, then you'll never, ever increase your revenue. It won't happen. It's impossible. Leading indicators are, for me, things like, there are real metrics you can use for leading indicators. So things like the thumb stop, the percentage of people who are stopping on your creative in their Facebook newsfeed. It's a pretty good leading indicator. I would say publishing velocity of creative. The more you make, the more you iterate, the more likely you are to come to a success. It is in some ways a numbers game. Other leading indicators, I think, would be early traction, customer feedback, things like people who are opening, how many people are opening your emails. But I would even step one level back from that and think about it in terms of like, okay, how effectively is the team humming? Like, how well is the team working? Are we able to get all the emails out on a regular cadence? Are we consistently updating our creative? Does everyone on the team understand everyone else's role on the team? That, to me, is an amazing leading indicator because you can just let that stand,
Love it. I love it. All right. So let's, so we're talking about growth marketing. We're talking about how to shift your mindset and evolve. I want to rewind for a minute and just talk about the entrepreneur, right? So you have two business partners. You co-founded this business. And I think a lot of people are asking themselves right now, whether it's a side business, a new business, should they go out on their own? We're seeing layoffs, where people are getting laid off where they never thought they would. And then they're thinking, okay, do I want another job or do I want to start something on my own? So talk about kind of the process you went through during starting a company during a very crazy time in the world, the process you did to launch your business.
Mm-hmm. I wouldn't do it the way that we did it. We learn from our mistakes.
Well, hey, listen. I mean, people learn from mistakes, and failure is the best medicine. So
absolutely. And also, I mean, when I say that, but I'd also do it again. Like, forward motion is really the only thing. Forward motion matters. Forward motion is the most important thing. So when we did it, we weren't really intent on starting a business as such. Like, we wanted to freelance together. We knew we had experience in marketing, and we were just kind of like, oh, I guess we should just work next to each other, own our client relationships, and continue like working and just helping each other. That obviously very quickly turns out that you need things. Turns out you need capital. Turns out you need resources. Turns out you need like a community. You need a Slack. You need all the things that happen to come from a business. So we just started doing that. But really, like, for me, my entrepreneurial quote unquote journey started when I first started learning digital marketing, which was like a couple of years ago, probably 3 years ago. And I didn't have a job. I was a musician, and like, I just needed to learn a skill that I could make money out of. And I think that's the origin of my story, which is that, like, I had to figure out how to make money with no money. So the only way to do that is to, like, keep digging, reinvest what you get. When you find success, double down into that, try to learn as fast as you can, and then make yourself useful to someone. Like, find leverage by being able to generate revenue for someone else. And like, I feel like I've been just doing that same thing over and over and over and over again. And it's just started to work. Like, when I say it started to work, it's been working, it's been growing, but now it's working. Like,
now it's working. Right. Yeah. So what have you learned along the way that you didn't think you needed to learn?
So one really specific thing that I would do if I were to do this again, I would get as much access to capital as I could before I quit my job. That would be a completely game-changing activity. I had no idea the extent to which it's more difficult to access capital when you are just a new company. It's exponentially more difficult.
So you're frozen for a minute. Oh, there you go. You froze up for a little bit. So my next question. So educate people a little bit about what Shopify is for people that don't know, right? And then how you overlay that, right? So Shopify, which can be found at shopify.com, is a website that you can go to, and basically anyone, anywhere can start a business. And it's about bringing your business online into basically an e-commerce platform, right? It's kind of just made easy. And then you come in and overlay the marketing efforts, right, to grow the business. So just kind of talk about, how that gets married.
Absolutely. So Shopify is a very simple and elegant solution to selling online. Prior to that, I remember learning WooCommerce. Before that, there were a whole bunch of legacy systems. It was really hard. It was difficult to build a shopping cart, to build all this stuff. And Shopify it's just easy. It's just very simple and there's a low cost of ownership. Yeah. So anyone can it's very easy to make a store, but the challenges lie for brands in what Shopify is, and then how to bring those products to market. So Shopify it's a great product. It's an amazing product. What's really good about it is that it's a marketplace. It does not contain within itself a lot of the core business functionality that you need to grow a business. So that means things like customer support, product reviews, SMS marketing, email marketing, Facebook ads, Google ads, obviously. All of these functions that are important to any growing business, instead of building them and coding them internally, Shopify just opened up their API and allowed third-party developers to build those products. So a large part of what the work is that we need to do is actually around integrating third-party providers, understanding the way that the data speaks between these different platforms, and making it really, really easy to move and pass data between things, and helping clients get their data working. That's something that most people don't have. And then the second thing I would say is like a strategy layer on top of your marketing. Most stores have an idea of a channel that works for them. They'll say like, okay, Facebook works for me, Google works for me, influencer works for me, but they don't necessarily have a methodology for testing, iterating, and scaling into those channels. Nor do they have the best practices from what top tier agencies are doing.
Yeah.
So we just come in, plug it in, turn it on. Usually is what it is. It's like, oh, okay, you've done everything right, but there's like a couple of little things missing that would unlock whatever X amount of growth quite quickly.
What type of commitment do people need to have when working with you to really experience the type of growth marketing that you're experiencing? I think sometimes people think, this, I'll try it for a month, I'll try it for 2 months. That doesn't really, nothing is an overnight, success. And so what's the commitment like, and what does the process look like?
We see the most success. I mean, we can turn things around pretty fast. It really depends on how advanced you are right now. If you have a Shopify store, or if you have an e-commerce store and you're doing $50,000 a month in revenue, that's an easy one. We can get you to 100,000 within a couple of months. If you have a Shopify store and you're doing 300,000, 500,000, it's more like steering a ship. You have different channels that are working. You have different systems in place. You have a variety of different acquisition methods that are working for you. So the game is a little harder. It takes a little bit longer. But I would say if you're dipping a toe in the water, if you're less than that, you can find results quickly. I would say 3 months is really what I would commit to
as your base
before really measuring, because you're going to have to set up a lot of systems. You need to get, and there's a additive effect that comes from getting everything working together. So you get your Facebook account working, that improves your growth by 50%. Then you get your Google account working, that improves by another percentage, and then those multiply together. Then you dial in your email backend. Email should be driving 30 to 50% of all of your revenue. So all of a sudden, that's a huge lift there. And then what happens is they start feeding back on each other. You're spinning all these systems together in real time, and the more people, the more money and the more people flow through the system, the more effective it becomes. Yeah. So 3 months is like, okay, everything's humming. Like, we understand what levers we have to.
Yeah, you're frozen a little bit, but I hear what you're saying. Like 3 months is really kind of a base. All right, good. I love what you're talking about. I love what you're doing. You ready for a quick speed round, Tim?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. Favorite book and why?
Oh my God. Favorite book. I really like Anne Carson. She's a really, really beautiful poet. I would say like the Glass essays I really, really enjoy. It's very, very emotional, like extremely transformative, and very hard reading experience. Makes you feel a lot.
Nice. Best piece of wisdom you've ever received?
Just do something. Just keep moving forward. The faster you can fail, the faster you'll succeed.
Yeah. One thing every person should do today when thinking about marketing.
Put some content online. Whether it's on your personal profile, whether it's on your brand, just put some physical piece of content online. Yeah.
Fast forward 100 years, what do you want your legacy to be?
Helped make good jobs for my friends. Helped us survive this insane time.
Yeah. Tell everybody who your ideal clients are and how they can connect with you.
They are high growth Shopify brands with like cool products. LinkedIn's the way. LinkedIn.com/in/Tim-Keen, just my name.
Nice. Well, I think it's it's been great connecting with you and learning more about what you do and how you do it, and really helping people figure out an easier way to grow their business and their sales. Right, marketing is so important. It's so key. And what's so nice is anybody anywhere in the world can start a business now online and make it easy. I'm sitting here in spring break in a hotel room in Fort Lauderdale, even though I'm from Detroit. Lighting's not the greatest, but it is what it is. And we can talk, and you're in LA, right? I mean, exactly. And so, and people can do it. And so I think, you providing a roadmap of marketing and people knowing that companies like Shopify are out there to do what they can do, I think are really great things. I'm a business coach, and I work with successful people who are stuck to get them unstuck. And so companies like yours, companies like Shopify, help people get unstuck and give them an easy path to grow and create a business. So I thank you. I thank you for that. Tim, to the Think community, if you want some more resources to get unstuck, you can download my book or my ebook for free at my website, johndwoskin.com. And Tim, it's been great. I appreciate your time and sharing your wisdom. Give people your contact information one more time.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for having me, John. It's been a real pleasure. LinkedIn.com/in/Tim-Keen, just my first and last name.
All right. Awesome. Think community, thank you very much. If Tim can help, reach out. Tim, thanks, man. Talk to you soon.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Take care.